Alright, let's continue and this time take a look at how we can create the logic to drive the blend space. In order to explain this really, I think I will start off by showing a little picture or drawing that I made. This is basically showing the direction I'm pointing in world space. So here I'm pointing in this direction. And let's say I want to strafe to the right. That what I want to convert into a direction on or position on the blend space to something like here. So let's say I turned around and was facing this direction, but still took a step to the right. And I still want it to be converted into this same direction on the blend space. So this is basically the challenge that we are facing here. So the way I've gone about this is to go into my character where I have this logic that drives the camera, the head and the hands here, which is going off from the event tick. And here we have the position in world space. So if we compare this with this drawing here, this is in world space and we want to convert this into something in either a local space or really something in room scale that can be used. So first of all, since we're talking direction, we need to work off the difference in the location instead of the actual location. So the location we have here coming off the camera, adding some offset and so on, and then setting that on the body and the head. So since we are going to work with the difference in that, we're going to drag off the current location and then promote this to a variable. I think maybe I created this current location off video, by the way, but in case I did, can't remember, it's just this vector here I promoted to a variable instead. Anyway, we're going to set this current location to be last location and just leave that out here for a moment here. Because what we want to do is to take that current location and then subtract the last location. That's going to give us the delta in movement. That delta is going to be very small because this is happening on tick. So it's very unlikely that you're moving that fast, that it's going to be convertible into something we can use just like that on our blend space. So we're going to take this and divide by, not an int, sorry, divide by our world delta seconds, which is also very small. So that's going to give us a somewhat bigger value. And in case this is not going to suit the way that you want it to behave, you can always multiply this by something afterwards. I just multiply this by 1 right now, but really you can drag this off and give it some different value if you want. So in order to convert this into local space, we need a transform, and that transform is going to come off that current location as one component. So make transform. The rotation is the one that we adjust to be facing the camera. And the scale is going to be, we're just going to drag this off here. It's very likely that this is just 1, 1, 1, but I'm not really sure, so I'm just going to connect it up in a way. So with this we can do an inverse transform direction, and this is converting, as the tooltip says. There we go. Converting from world space to local space. So now we have the vector pointing in that direction that we can use. So all we need to do now is to isolate these components. So this is the right vector, the x, if you remember, on the blend space. So this is the right. I have already created these variables. So this is the right, and this is going to be the left. Sorry, the forward. There we go. And after that, we're going to update the last location to be equal to the current location. So that was the logic really to drive this. We can tweak this quite a bit, and I've experimented a little bit with a different approach, which uses a V-interp to make it a little bit smoother, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference. So I'm just going to explain this one. In case you're interested, I can post a follow-up to this one and show how I made that V-interp version. So anyway, we're gonna get these, get forward. And promote that to a variable, also called forward. Like that. Okay, oh. Right. So let's continue and now put these two variables into use on the anim graph. So we have the play third person idle right now. So let's unplug that and plug in the blend space that we made. What did I call it? Something? Locomotion? No? Yes? Interesting. That's funny. Never seen that happen before. Okay, but anyway, let's plug in the forward and plug in the right, and that should be all we need to give it a test. All right, so one thing I just noticed is that it seems that I've switched around something on the x-axis apparently. So I'm just gonna multiply this by -1 so that I hopefully get this correct. Let's compile this, play again. So as you can see, the strafing seems to be working. It's a little bit hard to see actually. And when I step forward, it does some forward animation moving. It's a little bit easier to see in the mirror here. However, if I step backwards, It seems like he's stepping to the wrong side, or he's facing the wrong way. And that is actually the problem that I was talking about in, I think it was a few videos back. So it's something that I will continue commenting on in the next video, and I'm going to continue and show the way I decided to approach this problem. So stay tuned, and be seeing you in the next. Bye bye.